Wemby, because they're trying to make Wemby like the next face of the NBA. Oh, let's give him Cooper Flag. I was like, they're about to give him Cooper Flag. I was like, no. We back with another video. Stealth the producer, Doughboy Bush, Teddy White 45, on that no rim. Y'all know what it is, man. Hey, real quick though, we just want to thank y'all for checking out all the videos. Thank you for running it up, the views, the likes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Any support that we've been getting, we appreciate it. Keep running it up. Tell your friends about us. You know what I mean? We're about to go crazy this summer and going into next NBA season. Also, too, we are on TikTok. The link is in the description, so please go there and follow us over there. You know, show support over there. And you know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep hitting y'all with this content. Today, we're going to talk about Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks getting the #1 pick. You know what I'm saying? But before we get to that, hit the sub button. You know what I'm saying? Comment, like the video. Let's get straight to it, man. So, like I said, the Dallas Mavericks, they got the #1 pick. So, real quick, before we kind of get to that and talk about how the team's gonna look and all that, man, y'all think this shit rigged? This lottery shit? Because
I knew you were gonna jump right into that too.
Because here's my thing, and I'm not mad at Dallas getting the #1 pick because okay, here's the thing. I do like the fact that it's not like you can't just tank and automatically get, like, remember before you tank and like get the higher picks or whatever. Because you in the NFL, that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the lowest record, you know, you get that #1 pick pretty much. But NBA now they're kind of mixing it up. My only issue with it is like I want to see them take out and pull the teams from whatever system they got going.
The old school way, like how we had it before.
No computer systems, because then it's like y'all. Yeah. That's like it's like almost like, okay, where's the integrity in that? People already thinking it's, you know what I'm saying? It's rigged. So what do y'all think about that? Like, I want to see the joints getting pulled from the little basket. All right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What y'all thoughts on that?
I would go ahead and say, like how you just said, I'm not a fan of the new school way. I'm not a fan of them going into a private room with whatever, however they do it, with the ping pong balls or the envelopes or whatever, and then come out to the national media and TV world to present it that way. You know, I wanted to go ahead and go back to where David Stern had it, to where they were actually having balls inside the rotating, you know what I'm saying, what's called contraption, you know what I'm saying, and pick the balls that are in there, pause, and bring them out to select who picks where. You know, at this point, I think that, like, it's tanking the real thing, though, when you think about it, because now you're not really giving the opportunity for these teams who are, you know, 3 games, only one, or 5 games, or 10 games, only one. You know, like is it a fair chance for, like, the Hornets? Is it a fair chance for, like, the Washington Wizards and teams like that? I don't feel like it is.
Nah, yeah, and I think that's why they started doing it the way they're doing it, so it kind of discourages just tanking outright. Because I want to say the worst teams are like the Wizards, the Pelicans,
yes,
you know, teams like that.
The Hornets,
and they I don't think neither one of them were even top 3. It was who was top 3? It was the Hornets, Spurs, and
Hornets, Spurs,
and Mavs, right? Mavs. They got the #1. So Mavs, it's I don't know, man. I just kind of like. You know, we got to get some integrity back with, like, show the joints getting pulled from whatever, you know what I mean? Because at least with the NFL, we know worst team gets this. Because with the NFL, I feel like the reason they're able to do that is because, you know, I don't feel like nobody in the NFL is trying to lose, if that makes sense.
No.
Because if you're trying to lose in the NFL, you're going to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, don't run the ball, or don't, like, you're going to get, so you're not trying to lose. So the worst team probably does deserve the #1 pick, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But the NBA, you could throw your bench players out there, low effort, you know what I mean? So I don't know, but 4-5, what do you think?
Stars,
yeah, 4-5, what do you think about that?
I'm kind of like you. I want to go back to the bingo hall.
Yeah,
this thing like bingo hall. Like I need to see the balls individually get put into that basket, and I need to see the man swivel the thing.
Yes,
you know. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much. It's too much AI, too much other stuff that we depending on, when this shit is just really
simple,
easy. It's organic. Yeah. Like,
I agree.
Stop trying to bring all this other intelligence into it, man. Just drop the balls in there and let us see. We're not that interested. We don't care about where y'all going with it and how can y'all. There's nothing more interesting than letting you, the suspicion when the thing is going and he dip his hand in it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, Nico been calm in this whole since All-Star break. Nico been calm.
Bruh.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's what people are saying. They're like, okay, they trade Luka to LA. All right, give LA the big market. We know LeBron is gonna leave soon, so LA needs a star. If he leaves, nobody's gonna be there. It's gonna be bad again. We need the Lakers high. Put Luka there. We'll give you the #1 pick. Like it does kind of seem a little fishy.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
It does kind of seem a little fishy.
Hey, we're not the only ones that feel like this has been a fishy situation. Everybody I've talked to through text and things like that, even talking to you guys over the phone and through text, when that NBA draft actually happened, and when we seen the top 2 go ahead and go, and even when we were saying the Spurs, we were like, well, damn, Spurs, how are they back in the top 3 again?
Wemby. Because they're trying to make Wemby like the next face of the NBA. Oh, let's give him Cooper Flag. I was like, they're about to give him Cooper Flag. I was like, no.
Hey, come on. So either way you look at it, it's like, okay, well, Dallas won. He's over there with the Mavericks. Nico went ahead and made the trade for Luka to go ahead and go to LA because, like you said beforehand, LA is a big market. We don't want the LA Lakers to go ahead and go back to the bottom feeders of the NBA because it's in a bigger major market. So we're like, we got to keep this up. So I just feel like, hey, Nico, we'll do a one-off. You send us Luka, we'll send you the first round pick. Or even if you would have went to Spurs, it's like, hey, Spurs just won last year. They got Wemby.
Mm-hmm.
They just traded for De'Aaron Fox. Now all of a sudden you talking about having him play with Castle and Wemby and Fox. If they would have got possibly the first pick,
hey, but
something ain't smelling right.
So
in that
San
kitchen,
Antonio got #2, right?
Yes, they do.
Hey,
yep.
Ace Bailey is still a boy though.
It's going one or two ways. You know what I'm saying? Flag, we know for sure. The draft starts at 3. We're gonna say that.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, but they're probably gonna get Ace Bailey, I'm assuming, and that's gonna be nasty.
For sure,
that's gonna be nasty too.
That's gonna be nasty too. So that the 2 Texas teams are gonna, you know what I'm saying, really.
They came up. They hit a lick.
They came up. They came up. Meanwhile,
let me ask you guys this question.
Oh, yep.
Are you more excited of seeing Cooper Flag going to Dallas? Or would you want to see him go to Washington? Because 9 out of 10 times, if things that's who would have ended up with that #1 pick, would probably Washington.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. From my standpoint, I understand that we don't want talent to be wasted, but if your team is actually losing and they're at the bottom, and you're trying to rebuild, how can you not send a person there?
Right.
Like, why would you not want to?
Because you're not going to get no free agent. You're not going to get no star free agent to go there. So the only way you can build, if you're a Washington, if you're a Sacramento Kings, is to nail and get those higher picks in the draft because nobody's coming to your cities. So you just got these franchises. I always say like these franchises like that, like the Kings, the Wizards, you know what I'm saying? Even the Pelicans. I feel like those are like bottom feeders to like the bigger teams. Like, the bigger markets, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's almost like the real minor leagues is the small markets. And like, you're really trying to get these guys to the New Yorks, the LA teams, even some of these Texas teams. There's a lot of people in Texas, you know what I'm saying? So, they want people down there too. So I don't know, man, the NBA, man, like each year that goes by, man, I'm just like, what? That's the type of stuff that makes me lose interest.
Yes. And
then like even the refs seem like kind of shady throughout these games in the playoffs. Like the way call a call. If it's a foul, call a foul. Like why are we like why is it like, oh, we don't know how to I don't know, man.
That's the reason why that's the reason why we've been seeing these NBA numbers drop.
Because
like what are you guys doing to get the ratings back up? Because it seems like you guys are favoring the teams that LA's in a major market, or we want Dallas to go ahead and get this, or we want, Boston to go ahead and get this because, Boston's another major team who has, been, a part of the league and been champions for so damn long. They're like, okay, well, we need to put these guys out here. I feel like it's like, hey, look, you know what? Hey, man, give a smaller team a chance. Maybe the Cavs, if they would have went ahead and stayed healthy, would the viewership be up?
Yeah.
Would we still be able to get these views up if the Cavs made the finals? Versus, let's hypothetically speaking, let's say the Thunder. Who would be interested in watching that series? Because there's no major market team and there's no major players. And no disrespect to SGA, no disrespect towards Mitchell. They're still good athletes.
The problem with the NBA is it's not. See, they're so star driven. The NBA relies on their stars, right? So people aren't really interested. Unfortunately, they're not interested in the game. They're not interested in like the game as a whole. Casual fans, for the most part, we are. But like, you know, what I'm saying the markets and the people they're trying to market to tune into the NBA Finals, they want the casual fan to watch like, oh, LeBron's on, or that Steph Curry guy's on. Let's watch him tonight. Like if it's just Shea, they don't know who Shea Gilders is. The average casual American, you know what I'm saying? So it's like they do want those bigger superstars and things like that. So that's why they're trying to build guys up. I feel like they are trying to build a Wemby up, but
the thing about it is like what you were just saying is that so if you did have a Cooper Flag go ahead and go to Washington, how are they going to go ahead and build that market up? How are they going to go ahead and get Cooper Flag mainstream in order for him to be a household, presence to these young kids? Oh, we got Cooper Flag, but he's playing in Washington. Washington's not doing good.
And again, like we just said, like those bad teams like the Washington, how can they ever get back relevant if you're not going to allow them to get those higher picks? And that's why I said, why not make it like the NFL to where like that lower, you know what I mean? I understand they don't want to encourage tanking, but the tanking part is the NBA is just kind of.
I hate that. I hate that word tanking, bro.
The NBA is kind of fucked up. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we were saying, like, how do you, if you're a Washington or like even the Kings, right, to where like middle of the pack, you know what I'm saying? Like, how don't those teams ever have a chance to get in those top 3 picks or whatever to really like get over the hump and be competitive? Because again, Adam Silver, you know that you have a problem with your team, a lot of your teams not being able to land large, bigger superstar free agents. You know that.
Yeah.
The only way you can come up is through either trade or, draft. And even with trades, a lot of guys are like, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
You
will get guys that say they're not going there.
People talk about the Kings, like, let's just talk about the Kings because it's kind of like the team, our little hub, I'll call it our hub team on the channel. Sacramento Kings. How can they ever get out of like NBA purgatory, just sitting in that middle of winning 40 games to possibly winning 50? How could they, you know what I mean? Like you need talent, right? You got to keep building up. And it's like, man, if you can't do that, I don't know, man.
I mean, you know what? To piggyback on what you're saying in that sense is I give kudos to, I think it was Jeff Petrie at the time, right? That was the GM of the Kings when they did go ahead and go get Divac.
Yeah.
When they went ahead and drafted Jason Williams, got Chris Webber in the trade, because Chris was anti coming to Sacramento. He was not trying to go ahead and go at all.
No,
I don't know what made him buy into it, but he eventually came to Sacramento and played. And you see how we became better, and we started to go ahead and get certain free agents, that wanted to go ahead and come play for the Kings and things of that nature because they seen, okay, this team's on its way up. Now it's more so like, once these players start to leave, it's like, okay, how do we get back? How do we go ahead and build back up? And I think a lot of it has to do, like you said, with the draft. A lot of it has to do with trying to figure out how to go ahead and manipulate these trades to get some of these guys to go ahead and come play for you. They're kind of on the right track right now because they do have some bonuses there. You just got Levine. You had DeRozan signed as a free agent based off of GP because of Fox being there. Then you had Monk that could have possibly went ahead and signed with anybody. And I know the Orlando deal was out there, which they were going to go ahead and pay him a lot more money. So my thing is that you have to be able to try to figure out how to get creative. How can we go ahead and get creative? Because now, even with that Kevin Huerter trade for the Kings, they don't have a first-round draft pick as far as I know of. I could be wrong. I think I'm underneath the assumption that they do not have a first-round draft pick. So with that being said,
and even if you do, it's not a lottery pick.
And
unfortunately, and that's another thing, the talent pool coming out of college now is not like the NFL, because with the NFL, it's so much talent. You can get somebody good late in the first round. You can get somebody good in the middle of the second round, third round. It's so many players that are good. But it's just the pool of talent when it comes to hoop is so different. And like, sometimes you can get lucky in the second round and get a gem. Like if we go through history, we can be like, okay, second round picks in the NBA that turn into Hall of Famers or like great players.
Right.
You'll find a few. You know what I mean? Jokic. You know what I mean?
When was the last time the NBA? Because I know at one point the NBA did have like 7 rounds of draft picks at one
back
point
in the day,
in the early 80s or mid 90s, and
they
kind of stopped.
They did have more rounds, but I don't know how they were set up. I don't know how they were set up as far as how many picks were per round. You know what I mean? But they did. They used to have more rounds, but now it's only like 55 players that get drafted each year.
Another thing I had brought to you guys' attention to as well is
But see, if you okay, real quick, hold that thought. If you do have 3 rounds, do you think that is too much as far as like each team gets at least 3 picks a year.
Mhm.
But are there enough players in that talent pool to where it's like maybe the talent pool is so small?
Yeah.
You think there's enough players to do 3 rounds?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at the undrafted free agents that come into the league.
That's
true.
On
both sides, football and basketball. So there's enough rounds. If you want to go ahead and at least add another round, 3rd or 4th round, to go ahead and allow teams to go ahead and get more picks, then you have that option too as well. But it went from, I think, 5 or 6 rounds at one point, and could be just
like the early '80s, huh?
No, I'd say it was in the '90s too as well. I want to say like the mid 2000s or like early mid '90s, early 2000s. I think is when they finally started to drop into the 2-round situation for the draft. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I think I'm just going off of what I can kind of remember as being a child. You know what I'm saying, and a young teenager at one point.
So since 1989, the draft has consisted of 2 rounds.
Okay, so it's 89. All right.
So 84. So in 84, there were 10 rounds consistent.
Okay, I knew something like that. I thought it was like 7.
Comprising of 228 players. So you were able to draft more players. I wonder why they went to just 2 rounds. Right. So really, each team basically you get around. I mean, you might have more picks, but for the most part, 2 picks, one first round. 1 second round.
And that's it. And everybody else is pretty much undrafted free agents that you go ahead and bring in on workouts.
So, all right. So let's talk about what we pretty much know. Cooper Flag is going to be the number 1 pick, going to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, and I ain't going to lie, I remember saying this to y'all. We talk about hoop pretty much every day. But I remember I was like, man, if the Mavericks don't make the playoffs, they're going to get a high pick. I didn't know they was going to get the first pick.
This night, real talk.
I was like, man, you got AD, you got Kyrie, you know what I mean? I was like, Gafford, Clay, Lively, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh man. I'm like, okay. So I don't want to, it's not fortunate, but with Kyrie getting hurt, then AD wasn't really healthy. They get knocked up to play in. And then they get.
I think we talked about it on the couple episodes ago. Like they got to the point to where they damn near didn't have enough players to suit up, and they were talking about forfeiting actual NBA games for them at one point because they were so dismantled from players not being able to play because they were hurt.
And I don't even think I haven't heard anybody say this, and I don't watch everything, so somebody might have. But Cooper Flag is getting ready to go play with 3 NBA champions. And Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and Kyrie Irving. Do you know what that's going to do for him to have that veteran leadership, that championship DNA as a rookie? Jason Kidd is your head coach.
And a future, a Hall of Famer and won an NBA title himself.
Can it get any better than that for a rookie to come in of that stature? To come in the NBA and you're just implemented in that. Here you go.
You're at this point right now. You're blessed to be in that situation to come into a franchise who's set up like that to win now. Definitely, it actually
because even without him, they were going to compete. I think healthy. They were. Like because I'm thinking Kyrie are probably. I think they said maybe a little after Christmas. I think. So that's going to be interesting to kind of see what they do at the point guard position until they get Kyrie back. They might be looking in the free agent market in the summer. I'm not sure.
They would have to because you're gonna have to fill that void.
Who was playing point when he was out?
Oh, that's a good question.
Who was their starting 5 when he was out? Man, so who did they play? Who did they lose to in the play-in?
To the Grizzlies.
You're right.
They lost to the Grizzlies in the play-in.
Let me see.
And so I'm probably who was their point guard at that time when they were actually when he went down. Let's see here.
Oh, so they really didn't have a point. It was like Max Christie, Klay Thompson.
Was it Spencer Dinwiddie?
Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson, Derek Lively, PJ Washington, and Anthony Davis was the starting 5, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So, they didn't even really play with a point. Maybe, like you said, Spencer Dinwiddie, he only played 4 minutes. So, they're going to be looking for a point guard. So, that's something that they're definitely going to need until Kyrie gets back. So, that should be interesting though, because you're pretty much playing half the season without Kyrie. Depending on how they look for those 40 something games, you don't want to get too far, down that the standings.
But as long as you have a healthy Clay is coming back, and hopefully you get some more production like he did late into the season, because when he first was there, it kind of seemed like he was going through the motions, but it seemed like as time progressed and went on, he actually started to go ahead and get back into his groove and started to make, shots that he normally wasn't making during that time frame. So if you get a healthy Clay, you get a healthy AD, you still have Lively, you still have Gafford, depending on what Gafford, because there's been rumblings that Gafford wants to be paid, superstar money is what is what the rumblings I've been hearing and seeing on the net or whatnot. But I think that if you roll with this same squad as you got now, get a point guard to come just plug in temporarily until Kyrie comes back, you're still going to be able to go ahead and be at the top half or middle half of that pack in the tough Western Conference conference.
No, they're still going to be good.
Now,
for sure.
It's crazy. Now, I did see Jay Will on NBA. I think it was on NBA Today or on the Stephen. I think it was on Stephen A. show. He said to possibly trade Cooper Flag for a first round, or trade Cooper, which is going to be essentially the first round pick. Trade him to Milwaukee or to a Philadelphia, so that way you can go ahead and get it like a Tyrese Maxey, or you can go ahead and go get a Giannis, or they threw in Devin Booker. That's who the other person was, Devin Booker. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why? Why would you want to go ahead and put D Booker on the Mavs when you already have Kyrie? Why would you want to put Maxey on the Mavs when you already have Kyrie?
Sometimes sometimes I feel like these NBA analysts and just in general, these ESPNs and things like that, they just need something to talk about. They just be saying stuff sometimes, because you're drafting Cooper Flag. Like, you're not trading that number one pick.
Not at all.
I mean, would you trade that number one pick for Giannis if you were like, I wouldn't.
No, not at all.
Not one bit. Nah.
Because you got to think about that. If you trade,
Cooper Flag now is better than I'm not saying that, but like you have AD, you have Lillard, you have Gafford, you have Clay, you have Kyrie coming back. My thing
is with that, not to cut you off, my fault.
No.
Is that if you do go ahead and trade that number one pick, or you hold on to it, but you trade him eventually, during the summer or whatever, right? You're gonna have to go ahead and add some other pieces into that factor. So you're gonna go ahead and have to gut some of that roster of the Mavericks in order to make that happen. Because I'm pretty sure if you do trade him to Philly, you do trade him to the Phoenix Suns, or if you trade him to Milwaukee, they're going to want just more than Cooper Flag. Yeah, that's the prized possession, but we need something else in return on top of that. Maybe some player.
I don't see the Mavericks doing that.
So for me, if I'm the Mavericks, I'm not doing that.
No,
you got a good position for him to go ahead and be in to get the best school learning possible with AD.
With 3 champions. Kyrie, like I said, 3 NBA champions.
They've all won championships.
Yep.
Why would you not want him to learn and come underneath that pedigree? Why would you not?
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
All right. Hey.
So hold on.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. I would hold on to that. I would definitely hold on to that. And honestly, not saying, there's other teams that I want to see win, ahead of the Mavericks, but just to kind of see how that's going to look, that's going to be interesting. Cooper Flag with those guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be, again, Jason Kidd's your coach, Hall of Fame point guard. You know what I mean?
And then you got AD, who had been complaining or saying that he didn't want to play the 5. Actually,
now you got Gafford, who is a 5. And now you're at the 4.
Slide at the 4, then you have Flag
at the 3, Clay at the 2.
Okay. And then whenever you go ahead and get your point guard to go ahead and fill in for Kyrie until Kyrie comes back in.
Yeah.
And right there, you're right back into a championship contention.
Yeah. No, definitely. Sure. You're definitely in contention.
Mavericks, you would be dumb. And Nico Harris, you think it's bad? Well, before this pick had happened.
If he did that beforehand, he's not exactly. You know what? I didn't even think of that point. Great point. I didn't even think of that. That is a great point you just made. If he was to trade this number one pick,
you thought it was bad.
Oh yeah,
after doing what you did with Luka.
Nah.
You trying to trade this pick now?
Right there.
The only way
Yeah.
Hey, the only way that your fan base and your organization or your people will buy into that is if you bring a Giannis in. That's the only way it's going to happen.
But even if you did,
I don't see it with I don't see it with Tyrese Maxey. I don't see it with what you call it. You know what I'm saying? Devin Booker, with all due respect.
Your fan base wouldn't buy into that. They're not
going to prove that at all. And like I said, you already have Kyrie there. So why would you want to bring in a Maxey or a Devin Booker?
I think people just had to fill time on some of those spots today, so that you know.
If you're smart, hold on to that pick. Draft that man who needs to go ahead and be drafted, because he is the best player in this year's draft, and just go ahead and build with your team from there. Because at least when you still have at least a good 4 or 5 good years out of all 3 of them All-Star players. Outside of Clay, I think Clay played about 2. But here's
the thing with Clay. If you're Clay Thompson, you're not being asked to do too much now. You're like the 5th option now. You know what I'm saying? Especially when Kyrie come back. You know, 4th, 5th, spot up and shoot, and you're gonna be. And guess what? You're gonna be open because they're gonna have to double Kyrie. They're gonna have to double Cooper. They're gonna have to double AD. You know what I mean? So it's like there's gonna be a lot of action. It's gonna be hard to guard those guys. It's gonna be hard. When that team's fully healthy and together,
and all tall and with
long pause. You know what I'm saying?
Long.
So
yeah,
that's gonna be nasty.
It is. I'm excited. I'm excited to actually see what's going to go ahead and take place. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not even a Dallas Mavericks fan, but I'm excited to see.
Me too. I want to see that. But like I said though, San Antonio's going to get a good player too with Ace Bailey. I'm pretty sure they're going to draft him. They got the number 2 pick, right? Or did they get 2 or 3?
No, they got number 2 pick.
Ace, that dude is a.
Remember, it was out of the Mavs and out of San Antonio. Go ahead and go for that first.
San Antonio's going to get a good player too.
So you're gonna go ahead and package up, or we not package, but you're gonna go ahead and have a package up. Well, no, you'll have a package with Fox, Ace Bailey, Wemby,
and Castle.
Yeah. If you don't trade Castle to go get Giannis,
they're not trading Castle.
Or something like that.
They're not trading Castle.
I would. I mean, we got fleeced out of not getting Castle back in return for whatever reason, but we
know why. Did you watch First Take this morning?
Yeah, I did. Did you see what they said about that?
Did you see what Stephen A. Smith said about that? He was like, "Hey, he's like a player. He was like a player. I didn't know where he was going when he started saying this. He was like a player that nobody talks about. He's like De'Aaron Fox for forcing his way. He's like for forcing his way out of Sacramento, getting to San Antonio. He was like, that was a
having Castle.
He was like, yeah. I was like, damn, fuck you, like motherfucker." That shit pisses me off so bad. I'm like, damn.
I mean,
I don't think people realize. And I know we've talked about this ad nauseum on this channel, but I don't think Kings fans realize how much like De'Aaron Fox finessed y'all. He flipped it to make it to where like, nope, it was ownership. No, he wanted to go there. I'm to the point to where I'll even go as far as sabotage. He wasn't playing hard at the beginning of the season. Bro, De'Aaron Fox went from averaging like almost 25 points to all of a sudden he's scoring 12 points, 18 points, 14 points, not being aggressive on defense, not taking a 3 ball, turning the ball over. I'm telling you. I'm like, bro, he finessed every single one of y'all Kings fans into believing that it wasn't him. And that's what he's supposed to do. That's what his agent is supposed to do. You know, and again, I'm not absolving Vivek and none of that, because I'm sure he made mistakes too. But I really feel like at the core, if you boil it down, if you simmer that meal down and you get to the core of what that recipe is, a lot of that, the main thing was De'Aaron Fox wanting to leave. And for him, it might turn out great because you're with Wemby. You're about to get a hell of a player in Ace Bailey. You got Castle, who was a rookie of the year.
Man, come on, bro. Preach. Come on, preach.
I'll even go as far as saying this. When it comes to that, I'm not necessarily mad at him in that regard for doing what he needed to do for himself. I'm mad at De'Aaron Fox for just not being honest. Because I don't think he was honest about that whole shit. That was the only thing. If you want to play with me, I get it. And now it makes sense. You're getting a high draft pick, a hell of a player.
But then you also say he's from San Antonio. But his wife San Antonio. He's from Texas.
Well, he's from Houston.
Area.
Yeah,
Houston. And she's from Texas too as well. So it just made more sense. Oh, let's go ahead and get back home or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So what? Oh, well, shit. We brought up the Kings, so we can kind of talk about it. We're pretty much getting news that De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan is going to be the guy on the outs, which I knew, and I always said this because
I think we all know.
I knew he was going to be the one because a lot of people saying get rid of LaVine. Like y'all fucking casuals. You want to get rid of the guy that can shoot the ball at shoot the 3 ball at a 40% clip, that actually moves without the ball, who's a better playmaker and who's more athletic. You want to get rid of that guy? Okay, yeah, right. But you want to keep the older ISO guy who's not a playmaker and who slows the offense down. And I like DeMar DeRozan as a player, but I'm saying if we're talking about moving forward as an organization, and I got to pick one of those two, I'm picking LaVine.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, it's
you
the better option.
Yeah,
you just mentioned great points and valid points on the reason why you would keep LaVine over DeRozan. Yeah. Like I said, no disrespect to DeRozan. DeRozan's a hell of a ball player. We appreciate his services that he was here for the year and a half, or was it 2 years?
Just one.
Year and a half?
Yeah, that was just one.
1 year.
That was just one.
You know, we appreciate what he brought. Mm-hmm. You know, we appreciate the fact that he came here to be a team player. He came here to go ahead and try to win now, get this team over the hump, back into the playoff contention and being a playoff contending team. But unfortunately, due to the circumstances,
it didn't work out.
It didn't work out. You know. And so, if I am on the outside looking in, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm trying to let him off older ISO ball player, and then trying to get something in return. Now that's the thing. What can you get in return for him with him being at this point?
I'm glad you just said that. I'm glad you just
I don't think so.
Doughboy Bush, I'm glad you just said that because you and I talked about it this morning, and I hadn't thought about it until you and I were just conversing and just talking about this. I was like, oh snap!
Yeah,
Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum just popped his Achilles. He's not coming back. He's not playing next season.
Okay, yeah.
DeMar DeRozan only has 2 more years on this current contract. You need somebody to kind of fill in and play
for him
that Tatum role. Why not show respect to DeMar DeRozan? He's making less money. Hey, you know what? We know you guys are going to have some contract issues. Hey, we need a point guard. Why not get Jrue Holiday?
Yeah,
Jrue Holiday for DeMar DeRozan, around the same age. You guys got to fill a void now. I think DeMar DeRozan is a hell of a substitute for Tatum just for a year. And then you're
just renting him.
A rental, right? Just to keep things active because he's a veteran. He could average. He could score 20. And one thing I'll give DeMar DeRozan, he got better at shooting the 3 ball. I don't know if that came with the Kings or I didn't really watch his last season with the Bulls, but his 3 ball got better. He was shooting that at a better clip. Boston, I know you guys are trying to save a little bit of money. Jrue Holiday's making $30 million next season or somewhere near it. Jrue Holiday, DeMar DeRozan, we get a point guard, veteran, defender,
even swap,
veteran, defender, champion. And you need guys like that. We don't need the flashy guy. We don't need the flashy LaMelo Ball or Trae Young. I think we need a guy like Jrue Holiday. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a difference maker.
Right.
He's going to 2 different teams and help those 2 teams win championships with the Bucks and the Celtics. What do you think about that?
And I wouldn't be mad at that. I would think that would be a bridge the gap for the next point guard to come in and learn underneath a proven championship veteran point guard such as Jrue Holiday. So if I was the Kings and you could possibly go ahead and make that trade, player for player,
I haven't heard nothing about it. But it was just us just kind of talking, thinking, you know what I mean? If there's a way you can make that happen.
Like I said, I mean, and like I said, no disrespect towards DeRozan, but what value does he hold to where you're going to go ahead and get something back of higher return?
But that's why I said now the whole Tatum thing kind of changes that because of the fact that he's out for a whole year and you need somebody to kind of fill that role. It's not easy to find veteran wings or somebody who's a professional that can really come in and do that and be that for your team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I agree.
That kind of I'm like, yo, Boston might be open to that. I could be wrong, but it's just something I thought about.
We have to see.
I don't know. Yeah. I think it works for both teams. You know,
Yeah,
I do. If you're trying to cut, cut some money, I think DeMar is only making maybe around like 20 something mil, 22, 23-ish mil. I think Jrue Holiday's around 30. You know, you could probably maybe send him and Devin Carter or something for Jrue Holiday. You know what I mean? Jrue Holiday, your point guard now. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just talking.